All right, I'll tell you very quickly my story and why I'm here. But I'd also love to hear from you. If you want to pop it into the chat box, where are you from? What state, what city are you in? And what stage are you at in your fitness business journey? Are you just starting out and going through your certificate 3 or 4? Or are you already a graduate and are you now out in the workforce or wanting to be out in the workforce? I'd love to hear more about you. You can just type into the chat box there and we can go through this one. And again, if you think of a question as we're going through this, then by all means type it into the chat box and then you'll be able to, it'll be on record there and I can go through and answer any and all of those calls that are on there now. So let's kick things off. Now, before I go into this in more detail, why should you listen to me? Well, it's a great question. I started my career in 1996 doing my undergraduate degree, launched my own business, my first business in 2001. And over the last really 25 years, I've spent not only working my own business, but also coaching others. My family and I moved over to the US in 2014, and I spent 4 years there leading people globally in the fitness industry, which is always has been and always will be my passion. And then in 2018, we moved here to Bali, Indonesia, and that's where we've been bringing up our two awesome kids and trying to be the best parents we can. So my passion for fitness and health and wellness is just as strong now as it was way back in 1996. And that's why I love sales because look, it's not the easiest of, guess, conversations, if you want to say that, to have. And sometimes we can really struggle with it. But when you get it right, and when you realize that this can be so much fun for you and for the potential client, even if they don't become a client, there's still a lot of value there for them. That's when it becomes really powerful. So excited to jump into this with you. Oh, Jana's kicked us off there. I'm from Brazil, living in sunny coast, currently running my PT business. Well, fantastic. Welcome, Jana, and great to have you here. If you haven't made a comment yet, by all means do. Just type it into that chat box there. Oh, we've got Shannon here is from Brisbane, finishing my Cert 4 in fitness and looking to start my own women's focused fitness business once I'm finished. Awesome. I love it, Shannon. The more niched you can be, the better. It's really, really important. Swat says, morning, I'm from Melbourne, Australia, doing my Cert 3 at the moment, planning to transition to fitness industry as a full-time business, online business. Love it. Fantastic. Well, you're in the right place, whether you're completing your certifications like Suat or whether you're actually running your own business like Yana. This is critically important every step of the way. And this is what sales is. It shouldn't be about making a sale. This should be about inspiring people to commit to their goals. And that's what it's all about because we can make a sale and there's a lot of, let's say, not so reputable techniques and systems out there that will get the sale, but then that person isn't committed, and they're going to be a struggle to coach. And Jana, I know you're in the industry already, and you and I both know there's lots of people that you don't want to work with because they're just not committed to their goals. And you're trying to drag them to the finish line, which is exhausting for you. And they just don't get results and they feel like they've wasted their money and you feel very frustrated and like it's all been for nothing. So we've got to protect your time and your business too. So you're filling it with those people who are really committed, they're really compliant. Oh, Peter says he's from Brisbane, completing Cert 4 and looking to start a morning boot camp. Fantastic. Well, great stuff. So my goal here today is to inspire you and to teach you how to make sales fun, how to do it with your integrity and your honesty intact. And whether it's just you in business or whether you're looking right, you have right now or planning to have a team, then you can inspire them to do the same. Because the bottom line here is the people out there, they want what you have. And this is so important. They need you, but they don't know whether you're the right choice for them. So that's what sales is all about. It's inspiring them to make a decision. And to be honest, the decision might be to join one of your programs or it might not. And that's okay as well if they're not really committed. Okay, so let's dive in here. How to go from fearing sales to loving it. And so, what we're going to cover is mindset, which is by far the biggest factor we have with this. And we're going to deep dive into that. I'm going to give you some specific techniques that you can use right now, today, that will help you to fall in love with this process. How to fill your business with people that you just love to train. You can't wait to start every session with them. They're going to get amazing results, and it's just a ton of fun. And then the 5 steps to make sure, as I said, you're being really ethical and honest and respectful. No pushy sales here at all. It's far from it. In fact, it's treating them like the real person they are and being very conscientious of the challenges and the space they're currently in. And then how to deal with objections so that you never get offended or frustrated. And we don't let people leave without making a decision. And the decision might be no, and that's absolutely fine, but at least they've made a decision. So, as I said earlier, if you've got any questions, write down any you've got. I'm hoping that you wrote some down in preparation for today's webinar, and I'll go through all of those at the end here. So, number one, biggest challenge, not just potentially for you, but for everyone in the fitness industry, is mindset. So, what do we associate selling with? Well, if it's anything like my history, it was, rich people are crooks. Rich people steal from the poor, and the rich get richer, and the poor get poorer. And being brought up by a single mum, then that was definitely my experience. The people and the environments and the social economic areas we lived in, that's absolutely what people thought. And it took me a long time to let that go. Another big one is imposter syndrome. Now, I've been in this industry, as I said, coming up to, it'll be 36 years, or 30 years, I should say, next month, which is scary, but exciting. And I can tell you the vast majority of people I've met have got imposter syndrome. Some of these people have been in the industry 10, 15, 20 years. There's a guy I'm coaching right now in Singapore, 15 years. He's amazing at what he does. He was referred to me by another client who used to be his client when he was personal training. And then the other one is that most people just really hate selling, and they can't get past that. But we have to overcome these, because the big thing here is nothing happens if you don't inspire someone to commit to their goals. What will that person end up doing? Will they go and try another diet? Will they go and get another gym membership and not turn up? Or will they just sort of throw the towel in and keep doing what they're doing right now? All of those mean that they don't make a change. So selling, it's not about you, is the number one thing to remember here. This is about who is sitting in front of you, or who the potential person sitting in front of you is. And it should only and always be about them. Now, as I said, not everyone is going to be a good fit. And that's okay. As you're going through this discovery process, you might get to the end, or not even through the end, and say, you know what, Wendy, you know what, Johnny, we're not going to be a good fit. And that's completely okay. But we must make sure that you're not taking any of your previous held beliefs. You're not thinking that you need to be a used car salesperson and be all slick and have this patter. That's not what it's about. And I'll share more about why that is in a moment. Now, if this is something that's a real challenge for you, and look, I promise you it was for me. The first really 4 or 5 years of business, I'd talk them into it, I'd talk them around it, and I'd talk them out of it by the end of it, and we'd be hugging and there'd be tears, and they wouldn't make a commitment because they've got to rush off to the next thing. So we've got to make sure that we're not dragging any of those long-held beliefs. Let them go. Okay, that's not going to take you to where you want to go. All right. Now, how do you do that? Because it's easy talking about it, right? Well, we've got to use certain tools. Now, I really encourage you, and this isn't about getting testimonials from clients. This is about getting testimonials, or stories, if you like, with people that you've worked with your friends, with maybe people you're going through the course with right now, Swat. You mentioned you're doing Cert 3. Ask them what they think of you. And the reason why I say this is because it's really important to get other people's feedback. Have you all heard of the lens of perception? It's it's what we look out from. Like I have my lens of perception and you have yours, and they're very different. The way I see you, if I knew you, would be very, very different from the way you see me. Okay, because we're just different people, and the way that you see you and the way that I see you is completely different because you remember all of the things you did, and it's crazy, right? We remember all the mistakes we made, we remember all of the things we did wrong, and we very quickly either forget or just put to the background all the amazing things that you do. So getting that feedback from others is important, and then read them every day. You only need to do this for a week or two, and it'll change the way that your lens of perception works. Because what you see in the mirror is not often what other people see. And then one of those that I absolutely love, Mel Robbins, there's a link here that you can grab. I'll actually put this into the chat box for you as well at the end because it's fantastic. But look, anything from Mel Robbins. Andrew Huberman is another good one when you're talking about sales, if you're interested in that sort of thing. Look, it's about just reconditioning yourself. If, like me, it was stubborn and it took me a while to get over it, we've got to recondition your thought process. And then the mirror technique. This is very short and simple. It may sound a little bit hokey, but it works incredibly well. I used it back in 2003. It's one of the best things I ever got from multi-level marketing, right? I got involved with a multi-level marketing company who had really good products, health products, and I thought it'd be amazing, and I thought it'd be crazy, and it wasn't, to be honest, because I just wasn't passionate about growing a multi-level marketing business. But the professional and personal development I did was amazing. So, what is the mirror technique? Well, if you've got challenges around money, then you can write down a very simple statement. Mine was, I am so worth 100,000 per year because I help to change people's lives every day. I do good things. And I had to sit in front of the mirror, and well, I didn't have to. I sat in front of the mirror and I read this out each day. Okay. And I did that 2 or 3 times a day. It only took me 2 minutes. And then at the end of 3 weeks, I completely shifted my own sense of self-worth. Now we're talking 2003, $100,000 was a lot of money back then. It probably barely get you by in today's society with modern expenses, right? But that's the thing that you can use. Now it doesn't need to be convoluted. It could be, I love sales because I get to inspire people to make changes in their life every day. Or I love asking people for money because it enables me to provide them with a great service and to support them in making lifelong changes. It doesn't really matter the words, but only that they need to be specific to whatever it is. If it's asking for money, it's a challenge. Is it feeling like you're worth it, which is another challenge? That's a great tip to use. It does sound weird, but it's amazing how powerful it works. And you'll go through some pretty incredible emotions with this as well. You know, there'll be, you'll feel weird and awkward and uncomfortable, even though it's just you. Laughter, if it's anything like me, there'll be some tears as well. It's very, very powerful how it works. And then what would you say if you were your child? If your child, or either existing or potential, came up to you and said, I have to do this thing, mum or dad, and but I feel bad about losing. I fear it. I'm scared of doing it. What would you say to them? What would your words be to them? And I'm giving you some really powerful tools here because that's what you need to break through this mindset challenges, which is a big one. We need to overcome this because any tools, any other sales tools you use are going to be useless unless we have the right mindset, okay, which is a big one. So how do we put this into practice? Well, you've got to do it every day, whether it's listening to Mel Robbins or any other, not motivational speaker, but someone who can help clear some of that head trash, for want of a better word. The mirror exercise, it's brilliant. Honestly, it's the easiest things to do 2 or 3 times a day. You could be doing it while you've, well, not while you're brushing your teeth, but after you've brushed your teeth. And then remember, consistency beats perfection. You don't have to get this perfect, but we have to do it every day. Otherwise, it's really difficult to change what's happening. And remember, we're all born sales experts. I've got two kids. I got a 16-year-old, just turned 16, boy, and a 10-year-old daughter. Now, my boy was pretty good when he was born. If he wanted something, even without any verbal, communication skills, he could get very clear. My daughter is next level. She's an absolute genius and has been since day one. And you probably were too, right? Kids are incredible, especially really young kids, 2, 3, 4-year-olds. They are amazing at sales. They know, that's when they start selling, when they hear no, right? And because they don't have any preconceived notion. They don't think it's a bad thing. They want this thing. And so, well, they're going to keep working and asking and figuring out ways until they can get it. Okay. And that's all it is. Now, what do you want? Well, you want committed and inspired clients. So what you're doing is amazing. Okay, what you're doing is incredible. It's for some of you who haven't worked with clients yet, I can tell you, and Yana, I know you've got your existing business, you know this. When you work with that person and when you help them to lose the weight, gain the strength, regain the confidence in themselves that they haven't had sometimes for years, sometimes ever, everything changes in their life. Every one of their relationships gets better. They're a better parent. They're a better spouse and partner. They're a better family member, a better work colleague, because they feel so much better in themselves. And this spreads like a ripple out into the entire community. And it affects so many people's lives. If you're in this industry for a year or two, and you help to change their ability to create results, some of them you will change their lives forever. And all those they know. Others you're literally going to save their lives. Now, I know I get fired up and emotional about this, and I do it unapologetically because this is critical to your success. You're not selling something that no one wants. You're selling a gift which is going to add years of quality life and years of life to that person. If any of you have had health challenges, if any of you have been overweight like I have back in the day in my late teens, you know how debilitating it is. Every single day, you think about it the minute you wake up, you think about it all throughout the day. Every little thing you do, you don't even realize. It becomes this overwhelming, all-encompassing thing. And it doesn't matter whether it's weight loss or any other health benefit that you can provide. Please, if there's one thing you take away from today, it's that this is a priceless gift. And if you keep it to yourself and don't share it with other people, then that's true selfishness. And I don't mean to be harsh and confrontational, but you have to get out of your own way because people out there are desperate for what you have. They're going to fail on another diet. They're going to waste more money on some useless piece of gym equipment for the home that becomes an expensive clothes horse. All right, I'm going to take a deep breath and calm down. But please know that this is critically important. It's not about selling something that people don't want. So commit to practicing every day, 2 to 5 minutes. That's all it's going to take. Okay? You may just pick one of those we talked about. All right. Once we've let our mindset go and freed ourselves from the prison that society has put us in, with sales being a dirty word, now we can actually start to use the simple tools that will add on to your mindset practice, which will make you feel very, very professional, very caring, and very supportive. So there's 5 steps to inspire commitment. And the first one is, do they qualify for your services? Yana, you've probably been in this situation. The others on the call, you may have been in other areas of your life, maybe not your fitness business yet. But if you're trying to sell to something to someone and they don't have enough money to buy it, It's a horrible experience, right? And that's why sales in the fitness industry, the health and fitness industry, is often not a lot of fun. I did gym membership sales. It was not fun because you're trying to wow them with the stuff. They're getting excited. You get to the end of the presentation, you say, ta-da, and they can't afford it and they are embarrassed, and then they're just making up excuses. It's gotten awkward. You don't know why. They leave. You're sitting there. It feels horrible, and it is. So we need to be upfront and honest about what the investment is. And it's simple. And it's being, again, honest and ethical. Number two is if that is in their budget and they can afford that or they're willing to pay that, great. Then we need to ask the right questions. And well, what are your health and fitness goals? Oh, I just want to lose a bit of weight, get a bit fitter and stronger. Really? If I could have a dollar for every time I heard that, it's never what it is, right? What is it really? Well, is it because my parents suffer from type 2 diabetes, or there's a family history of heart disease, or if I don't feel like I'm being a good role model for the kids, or I'm worried that my partner doesn't find me attractive anymore. Those are the real reasons people want to make changes. The weight, the lack of strength, the flexibility, those are just symptoms. Okay. So we need to be caring enough to dig deep enough to ask, and then showing them the best solution. This is where, again, your honesty comes into play. Do they need a 12-month program, 3 sessions a week? If they do, great, show them that. If they don't, well, then show them what's going to enable them to achieve their goal. Step number 4, well, getting exciting here, ask for the money. Ooh, it's a bit scary, but it really isn't when you get to this stage, and I'll show you why. And then how do we overcome any fear or confusion? And you can put in objections there if you like as well, because that's all objections are. They're either confused or they're fearful of making a commitment. All right, so let's go through these individually. And Elmer, I saw your message, no problems at all. Step 1. Qualify which program is best for them. And you need to do this in a phone call. Why? Well, because even in a phone call, you can build a bit of rapport and relationship with someone. Now, if you offer gym memberships, or in your case, Peter, boot camps, you may only have the one service offering, which is okay, but that's the price point you're going to tell them. Okay. And then number 2 is explain, this is all part of that conversation. Okay, find out what is their budget. And I'll give you a live example in a moment. And then explain that you'll ask for an answer. And this is important because we want them mentally coming to the consultation or the assessment, whatever you want to call it, thinking about making a commitment. And we don't want to get to that final stage. They're excited, they're ready to go. And then, oh, I must have left my card at home. Can I pay you tomorrow? Then we're in struggle street again. Okay. So they've got to be mentally prepared to make a decision. And the decision could be no. That's completely fine. So let's have a quick listen here to how this very simple script goes. Is it a script? Yes. Because again, we don't want you to have to make up this whole thing again every single time. We want you to be able to follow from a script and a process, because we know, especially from training, processes work, right? So have a listen to this and let me know whether you think this. And I'm sorry about those little squiggles on the screen. I think my daughter's been playing with my PowerPoint. But have a listen. And what I want you to listen for here is, does it sound caring? Does it sound professional? Does it sound pushy? Does it sound salesy? Let's have a listen. Oh, and by the way, let me do this. Hopefully, if you can't hear this, can you just let me know? Hi, Wendy. It's Rick Isaac here from Fit for Health. I'm just responding. Can you guys all hear that? So, Yana?
Yes.
Yes, brilliant. Thanks, Yana. All right, let's keep going. Let me come back to the beginning here. Hi, Wendy. It's Rick Isaac here from Fit for Health. I'm just responding to the message that you sent us. Are you free to talk now? Okay, great. Well, look, I just wanted to ask you a few questions to learn more about you and your goals. So, Wendy, what are you looking to achieve with your health and fitness? Okay. Okay. And what activities are you doing right now? Got it. Well, look, based on what you've said, Wendy, it sounds like you're wanting to lose the 10 kilos, you want to regain the energy you had before you had kids, and you wanting to sleep better. And you're not doing any formal activity at the moment, just occasionally walking the dog. Is that right? Great. Well, let me tell you how we help our clients solve their problems. Now, we have a range of services that we offer, and all of them include personalized programs. So, not only do we look at the exercise components, but we also look at things like basic nutrition and sleep patterns. And all of this combined means that you get the very best results from your program that is specifically designed for you. Now, our top packages, which are personal training, ranges from $800 to $1,200 per month, providing that we are a good fit. So, Wendy, would that be in your price range? No, no, I completely understand. No worries. But we do have our semi-private packages that range from 400 to 700 per month. Would that better suit your budget if we are a good fit? Yeah. Okay, great. Well, look, the next step is to book a strategy session where we'll analyze your goals and challenges in more detail and make sure that we are a perfect fit. So, this strategy session will take about 45 minutes, and I have two time spots available. I've got tomorrow at 6 p.m. or Friday at 7 a.m. Which one works best for you? Okay. Friday at 7 a.m. Great. Well, during the strategy session, our team member will ask you more questions to really understand your goals and challenges. And if we can help you solve them, we will offer you a solution based on your budget. Is that okay? Yeah, oh, absolutely. Well, thank you, Wendy, for your time. And we really look forward to seeing you at 7 a.m. on Friday. I'm just going to grab your email details and then I can send you a reminder with some extra information for you between now and then. Okay. So thanks again, and we'll see you very soon. Cheers. All right. So my question to you is, did that sound salesy? And I literally did this yesterday for a client that I have in Hong Kong. Did it sound salesy? And you can just type a yes or no in the comments there. Did it sound pushy? It was 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Did it take a long time? No. And what was I asking and doing with Wendy? Well, I was being respectful because I wanted to find out what is in her budget. She said she couldn't afford the personal training. So, okay, that's all right. I didn't make her feel bad about that. But I wanted to make sure that I knew what she could afford. Because when she has a consultation, which won't be with me, I don't live in Hong Kong, it'll be with Carla. But he knows that that's her budget. He knows what her goals are, wants to lose the 10 kilos, get stronger, and he knows that she's prepared to make a decision. And she's committed to a time frame. I gave her 2 times. I'm not saying to Wendy, oh, when would you like to turn up, Wendy? Because I'm so desperate for a client. If it's 3 in the morning, I'll be there. That's not appealing to anyone. Okay. We want Wendy to be appreciative, but understand. And again, this is about starting as you mean to go on. Is Wendy going to have to make some sacrifices in her calendar? Absolutely. She absolutely is. So you may as well start doing that from day one. Okay. So is that a script? Yes. Could you now wake me up at 2 a.m. in the morning and I could read it to you? Yes, because I've done it that many times. But this is brilliant because you don't have to think about it. It can be laminated and stuck by your phone or wherever your working desk is. You and your team can use it too. And it's done a very powerful thing here. It's got Wendy committed to a time spot. It's got her qualified on price. And if she said she couldn't afford that and I had nothing else to offer her, then I would just say, well, look, unfortunately, we don't have anything that matches your budget right now, Wendy, but I'll send you some information so that you can get started at home. And then if anything changes, let me know. Great, right? Really respectful. And it's 2 minutes and 50 seconds. So it's such a short amount of time, but it means that Wendy is now qualified. All right. Because if they can't afford it, it's no point in you spending time with them. That's most sale, the sales get them in the room, wow them with the machines and what you can do, and then sell them. It's horrible. It really is. This way, Wendy knows exactly what the price point is. We know exactly what to offer her in terms of my clients in Hong Kong, and we're all winners. All right. So that is step number one. Now, step number two, oh, let's just jump forward here. We don't need to listen to that guy again, is greet them at the door. Okay, so let's use you as an example here, Peter. You are going to be running a boot camp. So I'm assuming you probably won't have a brick and mortar. So greet them at the park. If that's where you're having the consultation, it could be at the coffee shop next to the park where you run the boot camp. It doesn't matter, but make sure that you greet them because you know that they're coming. They're nervous. You know, they're sitting in the car for 5 minutes going, should I do this? Should I not? I'm not sure. This Elmer woman sounds really scary. Is she going to yell at me? Is she going to make me feel like I'm a failure? Oh, this woman, Alyssa, sounded really nice on the phone, but is she nice? Maybe this is not for me. You know, they're stressed, okay? So we need to make sure they feel comfortable. And then we need to ask the right questions. What did Wendy say? She wanted to lose 10 kilos and get fitter and stronger, right? Have more energy and sleep better. What's the real reason behind that? Those are the symptoms, but we need to dig deeper to show that you really are interested because the value of your solution, what does losing 10 kilos do? As I used to explain to my clients, if you drop 2 dress sizes and have the body you've always wanted, do you care about 10 kilos? You couldn't care whether you weighed 150 kilos. If you're the size and the strength and the vitality you want. So the weight's irrelevant. It's what is that going to do for Wendy? Okay. And then what did I used to hear in primary school? Richard, you've got 2 ears for listening and one mouth for talking. We got to listen, listen, listen. Okay. Because it's not about you. This whole consultation process, the less you say, the better. And the more you listen and take great notes, the better. This is the difference between a trainer that counts reps and sets and a coach who works with someone holistically. Is sticking to a fitness and nutrition program difficult? It absolutely is. There's going to be times when Wendy doesn't feel like it. Okay. But if you know what her real ultimate goals and reasons are, and we can keep supporting her with those, then we're actually coaching her. We're not just taking her through a program. And that's what Wendy wants. She wants someone to be accountable with love and care, but also give her a kick up the butt every now and again, too. She doesn't want to be let off the hook here. So this is very similar to the previous script. So don't freak out when you see script. These are the questions and the format that you want to ask people. Okay. And is it scripted? Absolutely. Because again, we don't want you to try and make this up. And every day you need to be, 100% on top of your game and be able to remember all of this. You don't. This can be sitting in front of you and you can be working through it with Wendy or whoever you're working it through. In your case, Peter, in the coffee shop, opposite the park. But this is so important because we need to understand what their real goals and reasons are, and they need to understand just how severe this problem is. Because if they don't accept that and they don't think it's a big problem, well, there's no value in your solution. And then you can see commitment up on the top right there. How committed are you to achieving your goals? Now, if they're anything less than an 8, you don't take them on board as a client. You stop the consultation right there. If you say, okay, well, why not a 10, Wendy? What would it take for you to get to a 10? Oh, I don't know. I'm just really not that committed. I don't want to fail again. And if you can't overcome that, well, then we bless and release. Well, Wendy, we match the commitment of our clients here. So unfortunately, ours is always 100%. So we're probably not going to be a good fit. But if anything changes for you, again, and Jana, you'll agree with me here. Clients that are 5, 6, 7 out of 10, they suck because they're really not committed. Okay, so every step of this is critically important. It's not long, 10, 15 minutes, but you're spending the time to really understand what the challenge is for them. And they also get to see, well, actually, this is really affecting a lot of areas of my life. This isn't just something I should do because my doctor told me. This is critical. Okay. So that step's really important. Then step 3 is show them the best solution for the goals they want to achieve. 10 kilos Wendy wants to lose, improve her energy, and get better sleep. Well, what is the best solution for that? Is it a 12-month program? I think we could all agree no. Really 3 or 6 months would be okay for that, to be honest, if Wendy really shows up to each session. And then we need to show Wendy the best solution for their budget. which is different too, right? Because the best solution could be for an unlimited budget, and then we need to show the best solution for her or his specific budget. Make it clear and visual. We don't want it to be you talking here because what you say and what people hear are often two very different things, as we all know. So, how do we do that? Well, visual is the key. So, this is using the same company that just got me to do a cold call with Wendy. They've got their basic package, which is 2 times a week. Okay. Oh, they've got their advanced package, which is 3 times a week. The budget, if it fits into the 2 times a week, then you would show them both. You'd say, Wendy, normally we'd recommend the 3 times a week to get the very best results. But I know you mentioned when you spoke with Rick that your budget better suited the 2 times a week. So which one would you prefer? That's it. Simple and easy, right? Not pushing Wendy into anything at all. We're being respectful of her budget and respectful of what the best solution would be. We're not trying to sell Wendy a 12-month program if she doesn't need it. We're conversely not selling Wendy a 3-month program if she really needs 12 months because we want her to set herself up with the right expectations. If she's got 30, 40, 50 kilos to lose, you betcha it's going to take 12 months, right? So again, it's about being honest and dealing with integrity. Okay, but visual is the key here. And for you, Peter, I ran a boot camp program, WA boot camps for women back we launched it 2009 and I sold it in 2013. And it was phenomenal. Doing this process was great because it could be done anywhere. It could be sitting on the park bench, literally right in front of where we would train people and my team would train them. We had multiple locations, and that's why you need this to be replicatable as well, because my very entry-level staff could use exactly the same process, and it works brilliantly well, whether it's boot camp, whether it's exclusive personal training, and everything else in between. Okay, so that's step 3. Step 4 is asking for the money. Oh, it's the scary bit, right? Well, it doesn't have to be. At this stage, you know whether they're committed or not. And you also know that if they say no, well, that's okay. They've still had a great experience because someone has listened to them. Do you know how few people genuinely listen these days? It's really scary. Most people are thinking about what they're going to say next, or oh, I've got to remember to put that out for dinner tonight, or did I follow up? For you to genuinely listen, to take notes, and then to paraphrase that back to them, they're blown away. And if they commit and if they buy from you, great. If they don't, great. That's okay. But we don't need to get emotionally attached to the result. Okay. Then always offer 2 options, like I gave you the example of. This is option A or option B. Which one would you prefer? So they feel like they have a choice. Okay. And then you book the first session, you process a monthly payment, or it could be an in full payment. And then don't just provide a receipt. We want to give them a little goodie package. It doesn't matter whether you're doing boot camp or group or semi-private or private. We do want to provide them, or nutrition coaching. There's got to be a physical something they take away. Otherwise, they walk away with that FPOS receipt going, they didn't really have much to show. When someone asks them, oh, you signed up for this thing, what was it like? Oh, well, I got this FPOS receipt. It could be just a little PDF on the 5 ways to improve your sleep and a little, I don't know, a little beanie or a little, water cooler cover or little drink bottle or whatever. Super cheap. Costs you $5-10, right? But giving them something physical makes them feel great when they walk away. And it's really easy. Like I said, based on your budget, Wendy, I'd recommend it 2 sessions a week for 3 months. Or if you want the best results with a program, it'd be 3 sessions per week with 3 months. Which one would you prefer? No stress, no pressure. You know Wendy can afford one of them, and you know she's qualified for it, and she's got a real commitment to it because we're ready to make a change. And then she either says yes or she says no. If she says, if she says yes, she's going to be really committed. She's going to be a great client to work with. If she says no, well, why is it a no? And sorry, before I move on to that, once you've asked that question, which one would you prefer? We play what I call the shut up game. You have to shut up. So which one would you prefer, Wendy? And sometimes that silence can feel awkward. I remember the very first consultation I did using this process, and the person opposite me, we sat there for what I felt like was 20 seconds. This was in a cafe, Peter, next to the building I was hoping to move into, but I didn't have, the other person had moved out yet, so I didn't feel professional. The clock was ticking, and all he was deciding is which credit card to put it on. But in my mind, I'd race through all these things. Oh, it's too expensive. Why don't I put my prices up? He doesn't want to do this. Look at him. He doesn't have any money. This is not working. What am I doing? I'm a failure. Ah. And he just wanted to decide which card. That was all it was. And he paid in full for a 12-month program, 3 times a week, just over $6,000, $6,900. I couldn't believe it. So the process works brilliantly. But when you ask for the money, that's when we need to be quiet. Now, if Wendy says no, what is Wendy saying no to? And this is where we can really develop the skills of patience and listening. First of all, when Wendy says, oh, I need to think about it, or oh, wow, or this is my favorite, wow, that's really expensive. Now, my first reaction can be, well, I'm worth it. I'm a real professional and you can get all up in your own grill about it. Why? We don't even know what Wendy's saying. Wendy could be saying, oh, this is really expensive compared to the gym membership. Yes, it is, because it's personal training. So we're assuming a negative when it could be a positive. Wendy could be thinking, wow, this looks like a really great service. Do you know that people with money know that you get what you pay for? They're not looking for the cheapest deal. They're looking for results. And they know that if they go to Aldi's and buy the cheapest thing they can, it's probably going to break. The cheapest light globe, for instance. They go to the specialty lighting store, that light globe's going to last for years and years and years and will be better value in the long run. And you can't market to people who don't have any money. I'm sorry, but you just can't. If you're going to run a successful business, you have to market to those who have a level of affluence so that they can afford your services and it won't derail them, right? Nothing worse than a client coming to you saying, oh, I can't afford to pay it next month because I've got to make the rent. That's no fun. They're the wrong type of client, okay? It's not their fault, but you can give them a home program and they can help themselves in other ways. All right. So listening and honesty is a key here. So identify. Well, tell me more about that, Wendy. What makes you say this is really expensive? That's it. And then she can say, well, it's more expensive than this, or it's more expensive than I thought. Well, if it's more expensive than I thought, well, do you remember the conversation you had with Rick? Maybe we got that wrong. He said it was 400 to 700 per month, and you said that was in your budget. Did we make a mistake there? Let's just go through it with Wendy and find out. The worst thing that can happen is Wendy says, I'm going to think about it. I just need to speak to my partner about it, and then I'll get straight back to you. Do you ever see those people again? They're gone. They're gone, and they will not come back. I promise you. It doesn't happen. They're out. But what we need to do is, rather than let Wendy off the hook, what does Wendy want? She wants honesty, integrity. She wants a coach. She wants someone to keep her accountable. So let's not let Wendy off the hook. Let's find out what it is. Is it her fear of failure? Is it because she's just struggling with actually making that financial decision? Is it genuinely because there's someone else who she wants their support or their go ahead with this? Well, great. Well, so what I'm hearing you say, Wendy, is you really want to speak to your partner about this. Is that right? Yes. Well, why don't we give them a call now? And then if they have any questions for me, then I can answer them directly. Because, Wendy, my biggest fear is that you walk out of here without making a decision. Because then we're just left in limbo. I'd prefer you to say yes or no rather than nothing. So is that okay if we just give them a call now? Again, I'm not being pushy. I'm just letting Wendy know that this is better to make a decision. Doesn't matter which decision, but it's better to make it. Okay? And that's it. Once you've overcome the challenges, and often it is the best clients you get are the ones who do have a couple of concerns or objections, if you want to call it that. And by listening, and by reiterating it to them, by showing them that you're really overcoming those objections, asking for the decision again, and then they become very, very committed. So it's a simple process, this, guys. It really is. Steps 1 to 5, it's not convoluted, but each of those steps is critical. We can't miss one. Otherwise, we're not going to be treating the person with honesty and integrity. There's no pushiness here. And in fact, you feel great about doing this because what is it that I know about you, Angela? What does I know about you, Shannon and Lynn? Elma? Peter, I already know it about you. Yana, Suat, Alyssa? I know that you guys care. You want to support people, right? You want to help people make a change in their lives. Well, this is part of doing that. You'll finish one of these sales processes, if we want to call it that. I prefer to call it a consultation or assessment, but you'll feel great. If they buy, you feel great. If they didn't buy, you feel great because you really got to know someone a little bit deeper and you got to show someone that you're a caring person. And that is priceless in my mind. Okay. All right. Well, look, I hope you've got some great value out of today. This is something I'm so passionate about. If marketing is a challenge for you, I did a business webinar last month with Healthy Nation on that as well. The business side is something I'm so passionate about, and I know it's where people need help because I needed help back in the day, and I got that help, and it changed everything for me. So, what's next for you post this webinar? Well, do you really want to succeed in sales and therefore in business? Is my question. My second question is, what do the really smart people do to guarantee the best results? What did you guys do when you invested in your health and fitness certifications? You went with the best, right? You got a coach. And that's what the best people do. They work with a trusted coach who has literally been in your shoes and not only can answer the questions that you have and provide support and accountability and the tools, but also things you haven't even thought of yet. Peter, you just mentioned not considered a meet in a coffee shop. But there's little things like that that are not necessarily little things. They can turn into really big things. So we've got a couple of options for you today. You can book a one-on-one 90-minute strategy session with me, and we can choose a time that works best for you. It's normally $500, but you can get it for $250 because I'm doing this in conjunction with Healthy Nation. And I'll put those links into the chat box for you there. Let me just grab that one. In this strategy session, you can watch the little video I've created as well. We're going to go through what you want to achieve, what are your biggest challenges, and then I'll create not only a strategy and plan, and we'll do it together, but I'll give you a list of actions to take. So it's a one-off session. There's no further commitment. But I really love helping you to get out of your own way in an initial period and get going with the right action steps rather than going round and round in circles trying to think of, well, what do I do next? Where am I going wrong? Why am I not getting this right? Okay. Even if you haven't started yet. In fact, Jana, I think you'll agree with me. Jana and I wished we'd have done this sort of thing before we started because then you open your doors or you open your boot camp or you open your business and where is everyone? Why is this not working? The other option, if that's not for you right now, but you know you still need help, then I encourage you to invest in the Healthy Nation business membership. I'm a big part of that program. I run the monthly webinars, which is not like this one. It's much more of a Q&A, and we provide a ton of tools and help for you if you're looking to just get started. It's $47 a month. It's normally $97. So again, Healthy Nation, I really want to reward you for giving us your time and expertise today and really listening, which has been great. It's been great to see you guys all so engaged. So I'll put that link into the chat box for you. So two options if you really do want to have a session with me and it's something that's very pertinent to you right now, great. And if you're stuck in any areas, and it could be by the way, you can get involved with that Healthy Nation business membership because being part of a team is so critical. When you go out there and you launch your own business, your friends and family are not doing this. You can become very isolated. Okay. Awesome. Well, you've got those into the chat box there. Now we want to spend time Q&A. There's no such thing as a silly question, and I promise you, if you're thinking it, someone else on the call is thinking it as well, and they're just hoping someone else asks. So please post it into the chat box there, or if you're happy to speak out loud, just say you've got a question and I can take you off mute just so we don't have a sort of everyone jumping in here, or you can just write it down if you want me to read it out, okay? So what questions and queries do you have? What is it about the sales process that is working for you or not, as the case may be? Where do you get stuck? Was there something we went through that you wanted more clarity on? Happy to answer any and all questions here because, as I said, there really isn't a silly question. They're all very, very relevant. And if it helps you just to get past that next little step, then it's well worth asking now. So you can type it into the meeting chat there. It's what, Jana. Alyssa, Shannon, oh, Lynn's jumped off, Elma, Angela, Peter. Let me know what your questions and queries are. I'd love to be able to help you with this. And as I said, if you're happy to chat, then I can just take you off mute there, or you can do it yourself, as it looks like someone's done.
May I have a question?
Fire away.
Hmm. Um, I just would like to know what you think, what would be the best approach? Because I've started my PT business 6 months ago, and the gym usually they provide some lists like the birthday of month list, or whoever just joined the last week, they give us the list as well. And
Right.
I was just wondering because the idea with this list is to book some initial consultations with the clients so that we can get to know them and offer our services. But this initial consultation lasts for 45 minutes. And I was wondering, because sometimes, as you were explaining, it's not worth our time.
Hmm.
If someone is not willing to do what needs to be done. So I was just wondering, what's the best approach in regard, for example, to that list? Should we just call and maybe try to check on the phone call, if they are the right client for us before booking the initial consultation? What would you suggest?
It's a great question. So, just so I'm clear, you're working as a subcontractor at a gym. They provide you, and you pay a weekly or monthly rent, and they provide you with a certain number of leads. And then your job is to try and convert those leads into clients. Is that right?
Yeah, into my clients.
Into your clients. Yep. No worries, Peter. I hope to speak to you soon. Cheers. Okay, it's a great question, Yana. You don't have to take yourself off video there, Yana. It's good to see everyone. Elma's been on the whole time. You rock, Elma. So, look, it's a great question. And the key is you want to call them beforehand and go through that pre-qualification. Now, if they say to you, oh no, it's not in my budget. I just wanted a gym membership. I don't have the money for that. You can still do the same thing. No worries. Okay, well, great. Well, let's book the session anyway. And then you can take them through that consultation session, knowing that because you can't say to them, oh, well, you don't qualify for me. I don't want to take you for a session. Like your bosses are not going to be happy with that, and neither will that potential lead either. So it just clarifies for them and for you that you're being upfront and honest. Okay. And then when you take them for the session, then it's easy. You just do the session without any expectations. Because again, the horrible situation with that, Yana, as I'm sure you've experienced, is that you don't know, and you're hoping that they're going to qualify, but they might not. And then you take them through the session, and then you ask them at the end, so would you like to do some personal training? And they go, oh my goodness, I can't afford that. No, no. Oh, I just thought I was coming for a gym membership, and it's all awkward and it doesn't work. So once you qualify them and you say, look, just wanted to be upfront with you. This is what my prices are, but I'm really looking forward to the session with you. Would that be in your budget if we decide we're a good fit? No. Okay, no worries. Well, look, I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday at 7 p.m. and we can have a great session then. At the end of the session, you can say, well, I know I explained to you what the pricing was, and I know you said it wasn't in your budget. So are you happy just to continue with the gym membership? And then let them make a decision. But the pre-qualification is really important because it lets them know, well, what would the price be? And lets you know, well, is this a real prospect or are they actually not? And unfortunately, in that gym membership environment, because they're coming in to buy a gym membership, right? They're not thinking about a personal trainer. So most of them are not going to have the budget, and they just want to get on the treadmill and run for 45 minutes, and that's them. Now, what I would say, so that's the way to handle that situation, Yana. The flip side, even as a subcontractor or as an independent trainer, you need to be marketing outside of the gym. And that's, again, another topic that we didn't cover here today, but it's a critical one because you can't rely on the quality of those gym leads. Most of them won't be qualified for a personal trainer because they've come for the gym, right? Or they come for the gym price. So really important that you follow the qualification process for the leads you're getting, and that you can generate your own leads outside of what the gym's doing. Okay. My experience as well is often, the instructors have been there forever. they usually get the best leads or the most quantity of leads, and we're sort of fighting with the newbies and what we can do around until they get full, and then you get sort of what's left. So better to be doing both, using those leads to the best of your ability, but bring in your own that are likely to be more qualified, and you're not at the mercy then of anyone else. Great question. Yeah, great stuff. What other questions do we have today? That was a really good one. Anyone got anything that they're troubling them, or, and I know that some of you don't know what you don't know yet. You're completing a certification, so you don't know what's coming. What I can share with you just quickly, and this goes for all of you on the call, you as well, Yana, we want to be really clear on who it is you most love to train. So I think was it you, Sua? uh, oh no, sorry, it was Shannon. Shannon, you wanted to run a women's focused fitness business, which is great. I love that specificity because what a male's thinking and what a female's thinking completely different. So when it comes to your marketing, we need to enter the conversation they're having in their own mind. Now, in saying that, that's great women, but which women? I know from my wife what a 50-year-old woman is thinking is completely different to what a 25-year-old woman is thinking. So we want to be even more specific. What a 50-year-old woman who's breezing her way through any type of menopause symptoms is completely different to the 50-year-old woman who's going crazy and thinking that, she's either something's going to combust because she's not getting enough sleep. Everyone's telling her crazy, whatever. I'm just using that as an example. But we want to be really targeted and really niched. So 10 years for any of you who were my age, what I thought at 34 is very different to what I now think at 54, even 44. It's a big gap. Okay, so I encourage all of you to narrow your focus and think about serving one particular type of client. Now, in your example, Shannon, maybe you choose, I don't know, 40 to 50-year-old women. I'm just, again, making this up. Often they're ones that love that sort of group environment as well, because they develop communities, which is fantastic. That's why my boot camps, and I'm actually didn't mention it to Peter, but my boot camps were women's only. It was WA boot camps for women, and we didn't have any men, which they loved because then they didn't have to deal with Mr. Grunty and Mr. Sweaty and Mr. Sleazy in the gym environment. It was all just women like them. But within that, like Shannon, if you're picking that 40 to 50-year-old bracket, then really focus your marketing and your message to that particular target market. If you get someone inquiring who's 25 or 60 and they're committed and you want to work with them, great, you take them as well. But your marketing and your business model should be focused on that tighter and more narrow niche. Nice one. That's a big challenge that I see for people coming out of the certifications. They just want to help people. Oh, that's me. I just want to help anyone from 7 to 70, and it doesn't appeal to anyone. And then what I will say to you guys, if you're just completing your certifications, learning the processes around sales and marketing is the difference between success and failure. It really is. Oh, there you go. So Shannon says, I'm going to focus on postnatal strength and perimenopausal women 35 to 50. Okay, great. Love it. I mean, I do love it. You've really got two target markets there because the perimenopausal woman is definitely not postnatal, or recently, or they might have been, or might not have ever been, right? So I would segment into two target markets with that, Shannon, and have a message specifically focused on postnatal strength, and then a message specifically focused on perimenopausal women. Because even within that, because that's the thing, people and women especially, oh my goodness, are you bombarded with messages every day? It's shockingly bad. It was bad enough in my day when we had 3 TV channels. Now you've got these horrific things that bombard you all the time, that pick up on every little thing you say or look at. You've got people around you. You've got generic media, TV or otherwise, and it's just coming at you with every possible opportunity. Why I share that is because your message has to stand out amongst all that noise. How does your message, in this case, you, Shannon, but it could be any of you, Angela, Suat, Elma, Yana. How does your message stand out and grab my attention? Go, wow, this woman, Shannon, sounds like that's exactly what I was thinking last night. Oh my God, my abdominals are never going to be the same again. I'm just going to feel like this the whole time. I'm never going to get rid of this pain and this abdominal bulge. Well, yes, you can if you work with Shannon. If you make your message completely relevant to that, that's when I don't see anything else, and it's amazing. So specificity is the key. Very true. And menopause fits in that age group as well. Thank you. Definitely have some thinking to do before I start. Yeah, well, absolutely. And look, that's why I encourage you guys, don't do what I did. I was like, I'm going to do this on my own. I'll figure it out. I'm a smart guy. I did a degree in sports science and exercise physiology. And no one's ever asked to see my degree, by the way, although I used to carry it around with me because it cost me a fortune. They don't care about what you know. They don't care. You could have all the tickets, all the qualifications in the world, and they don't care at all. They will never ask to see them. What they care about is, do you know me as your potential client? Do you know what's going through my mind? Do you know what my real challenges are? So that's why, as I was saying, don't do what I did and try and figure it out on your own. It took me 4 years of blood, sweat, and I'll be honest, plenty of tears, just to realize I can't do this. I can't figure this out. And that's when I got a coach. And that's when everything changed. 2005 was just a game changer for me. It's why in 2008 I became a coach as well. My business was on autopilot at that stage, and I wanted to help people just like I'd been helped. So even if you haven't finished your qualifications, I really encourage you, book that one-on-one strategy session. If you're not clear on what it is you need to be doing and your next action steps, you'll see the link up the top there. Or if that's just not in your realm of comprehension at this stage, then by all means, get involved with the community and really join that Healthy Nation business membership. It's such a good deal and it's such a great community. I'm in there all the time. So, I love sharing hints and tips and answering specific questions because I know it'll just make a massive difference to your business and to you getting success early and not making all the mistakes that so many of us have made. So on that note, I do want to be respectful of your time. I really appreciate Angela, Shannon, Elma, Yana, and everyone who was on the call. Peter, Suat, Lynn, I really appreciate you guys jumping on today. If there's anything I can do, sorry, Elma says, I missed the first 15 minutes. Will this session be available online afterwards? That's a great question, Elma. I believe so. I'm definitely recording it. So it will be in a format. I don't know that it will be available online, but what I can do is make sure that it gets sent to everyone who registers or who registered, which will be you as well, Elma, because some of you might want to go back over it and just look at it again. And obviously, there's the first 15 minutes for you there, Elma. All right, so great stuff. Well, guys, if there's no further questions, then it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for giving me your most valuable asset, which is your time. I really love it. If you need any help in the future, you certainly know who to reach out to. And remember that one thing that I said, what you're doing is you're going to change, you're going to save people's lives. This is such a noble quest that you're on. It's such an incredible mission. And anything that's getting in your way, don't let it. Get help to get over it because there's so many people who desperately need your help and they don't know where to go. They're so confused. They've failed so many times and they're just desperate for a solution. So be that shining light for them. Don't get in your own way. Be loud, be proud, be clear on what you want and get help in any of the areas that you know is a blockage for you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, wonderful rest of your week. Shan says, thanks so much, Rick. You've given me so much inspiration, motivation to start, but also a lot to think about. Well, great. Well, that's exactly my mission's accomplished then. Shannon on the call today. It'd be great to talk with you more about it as well and really help you to create the right plan. But well done. I appreciate it. So have a great rest of your day, guys. I really mean it. Thank you. And we'll speak to you all very, very soon. Bye for now.